we were hitting a ceiling as a company. We were struggling in our operations, struggling in our leadership.
And profit.
Yeah, to be honest with you, we're struggling in profit and all that. And
you need someone who can do the things that you don't like to do and do the things that you're not good at, and that be what they're great at. Every business needs vision, and that's where the visionary comes in. Every business needs vision, but without the clarity that the integrator brings, that story never really comes to life. Making assumptions is always going to be a limiter for you. Hey, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the 3PX show. I'm Batman. This is Robin. And I thought I would elicit a better response than that.
I wasn't expecting that. It just cracked me up. I started giggling. I was like, what the heck?
It's fine.
When you said that, I was thinking the first thing that popped in my head is, oh, I'm the kickstand.
Oh, those were the good old days.
Or the sidecar.
That's right. Feels like forever ago. This is episode 11.
It is. How about that?
It's still fun. Okay. Hey, this episode's going to be awesome. We are talking about the terminology called rocket fuel. For those of you that are familiar with EOS, yes, we run on EOS. And rocket fuel is the visionary integrator combination. So we're going to take some time today. We're going to talk about that powerful combination. And to set the stage, Wayne is the visionary. Steve is the integrator. I don't know why I'm talking in third person, but I am the integrator, and Wayne is the visionary. And so the EOS system begins with right person, right seat. And that right person, right seat starts with aligning the visionary in the visionary role and the integrator in the integrator role. And we're going to unpack that a little bit and talk about how that is really, it's helped Wayne, it's helped me, it's also helped the entire business. So I'm excited about talking about this one. And I'm going to say 100%, probably several times, because we've talked it up now already this morning before we started filming this episode. But nonetheless, okay, let's get started with you've been running the CDF business up to this point, 14 years, but rewind to when we started EOS. So you've been running the CDF business for about 10 years. Now, this was before we had forward companies and all the other businesses. So Wayne's running CDF, and it's hitting the ceiling, to say it lightly. So Wayne's hitting the ceiling. He finds EOS. And what I really want you to tell people about is where did the realization come from that you don't just need someone to help you, you need the counterpart to do the things that you're not good at or that you don't want to do. Talk about that journey, because I think there's a lot of leaders that are in that position right now.
That is such a crucial statement, crucial part of the entire journey is finding that person, because that's not an easy thing to do. You know, there's teams and people that we've talked to, that we've coached over the years, and that's it's been a difficult thing to find the right person for the right seat. But I would say 4 or 5 years ago, because you've been here for almost 4 years, and I think we started it almost 5 years ago, the EOS part. And I honestly think if we wouldn't have started the EOS and already had some traction going in that direction, you probably wouldn't have looked at this company the same way, because it's just, we started having some organization. We started having some structure with finding the right people. And I don't think we would have there's a good chance that we wouldn't have even interviewed you or talked to you about, an open position when we were just, at the time we started talking to you, we were on advice. And then over that 4-month period or so, when we were talking, came to realize that, hey, I feel like that you're the right person. But EOS helped us determine that, because we started talking at the very beginning of it is, hey, we need to put the right people in the right seats. And because we didn't know what the visionary was, we didn't know what the integrator was, or just filling out the seats. And then we started filling out the seats with who we had in the business at the time, which is nothing wrong with that. But for us to grow and for us to continue to move forward, we had to take a real serious look at how to fill those seats and who needs to belong in each one of those seats, and had several people that wanted that integrator position. And for the longest, we just kept that empty to where it was me as a visionary and me as an integrator. And that's a hard combination to have when you have the same person doing both jobs. Not to say that it can't be done, because it can, there's no doubt. But when you have that right combination, and allow the visionary to become the visionary, and then have the person that is as just a master at the integration part of it, the integrator, that like it says in the book, it just becomes rocket fuel, because now you have two people that can just do each section, and then it explodes from there. Just like a rocket would, it just takes off, and the next thing you know, the thing is moving at a super fast pace. Because you think over the past 3 years, we've more than doubled in size, almost tripled, maybe even tripled in size.
We have more than tripled.
Yeah, in the past 3 to 4 years. And so if that's not called rocket fuel, I'm not sure what is. And then you look at some of the companies that when we're even at the National Business Journal last week, and some of these other ones that we talked to that have, 15,000% growth in a 3-year period. Like, how in the world does that happen? That's crazy. That's what you call rocket fuel. Now, I don't know if they were on the EOS system, but having that and just putting the system together like that, it's unbelievable how it really impacted our company and the direction that we're going. And EOS played they played the big part in that, but it really just helped us, because that first 10 years, like you said, I wouldn't say we were drifting along, but for the most, because we were growing 20-30% a year, so that's still not bad. I mean, if you looked at it over that time frame, we were still growing every 3 years, probably 100%. So we had good growth rate. But when we started implementing that and putting it in place, and really, I started focusing on being the visionary and knowing where we're going, because I feel like I've always had a good understanding of what the market was, where it was going, what we were trying to focus on. I feel like I was good at that. But when I'm trying to do that and trying to be the integrator and implement and run operations, it slows you down. And when you came on board, that made a huge difference. But even your story and how you looked at the visionary integrator, maybe not even looking at those roles, you had a different perspective, especially after we read the book at the same time, right? So,
oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. There it was. I told you it was going to come out. So for those of you that are not familiar with the EOS system, the visionary and integrator are the two, their roles, their positions inside the organization. Traditionally, the visionary is the owner or the founder of the organization. And traditionally, the integrator is the secondary role that the visionary hires to run the business. In a true EOS structure, and that's what we run, the integrator works directly for the visionary. Wayne will tell you we work together, and it is truly a partnership. But from an organizational structure standpoint, the integrator works for the visionary, and everyone else in the organization reports to the integrator. Now, you might think that sounds crazy. Like the visionary only has one direct report, and it's the integrator. Well, there's a reason why this is powerful, because the visionary is the big picture thinker, the idea generator, the culture driver, the face of the organization, manages major relationship, expands, big relationships, cultivates relationships and partnerships outside the organization. And the integrator is the executor of the ideas, builds the systems, harmonizes the team, brings the ideas to life, and also paces the organization to consume change at a rate that the company can consume it in a healthy way. Revenue growth can outpace the operation or the company's ability to execute, and that's like, in a nutshell, that's where you were when I came first to CDF, and then when we started the Forward companies. You were at that point where the company couldn't keep up with the revenue, with the demand, and so it was a perfect environment for me to come in and establish, systems and guardrails and organizational structure, so that we could, continue to realize that the growth and move. So that's how those two roles are defined inside our organization. Outside of EOS, the visionary role is called traditionally like owner, CEO, and that's Wayne's exterior title, you can say. And then the integrator you may see as a president, a COO, a general manager, something like that, as an external role. But in the EOS world, it's visionary and integrator, the dynamic duo that partner together. And that's the rocket fuel that we're talking about, is that relationship. So,
yeah, and it brings a lot to it when you have that relationship to get the right relationship, number one. But it's not just about that. When you think about the role of the integrator can override what the visionary says. So when it comes down to, so the visionary is going to give you the vision. Hey, this is what I want to do. These are the direction that I can see us going, and I give you a list of things. Now it becomes your responsibility to choose which one we do first. And so, I may think, well, this right here is what I feel like we should do. Well, you can look at it and say, okay, well, the company's not ready for that. The company's ready for this, because you're aligning with all the team members. You're aligning with the whole playbook and how that works. So if you work it the right way, the integrator has a lot of say in how things happen and how things go and doing that. And so that really brings it more of a true partnership, and the whole aspect of how the business is run. So
yeah, it takes an owner then, and this is an unintentional shout out to Wayne, but it takes an owner who is very confident in not just the integrator, but confident in letting go of control and letting go in making decisions. And there's some humility to that, because otherwise, as we have experienced over the last few years, if the visionary, even unintentionally, talks about an idea or says one thing around team members, and they're naturally, I know we laugh because we got a bunch of examples of that. They naturally, because it's Wayne or this is the owner, they're going to go and do or try to please whatever the owner wants to do. And the owner isn't necessarily saying, go do these things, that they're just out talking to people and all that kind of stuff. The reason why the integrator has the decision authority to overrule the visionary is because the integrator is the one who is in charge of making sure that everything is happening in the right sequence to bring success. And the one thing that Wayne and I have really struggled the last few years to break is to get all the team members to follow the organizational structure that we've established, because we have a path of decisions and a path of execution that's already laid out. So if the visionary is ever going around that, or team members are working directly with the visionary, it really creates problems for the integrator and the rest of the company who are following an established path of goals and things that we are trying to accomplish. So that's one reason why the integrator has that overruling kind of now look, a business owner can say, hey, we're going to do all these things, but you don't have the ability to override me, right?
Yeah.
But what you said is, hey, we're going to be EOS purists, and we're going to follow this thing, and we're going to trust it. And it's been great for me, and I know it's been great for you. Doesn't mean we're perfect, but that's one reason why the integrator has that authority, because you're cut out, quite frankly, intentionally so, because you don't need to deal with a lot of this stuff. You're cut out from 90% of kind of what I do, what I deal with, what we do day to day. So that's why those ideas, those decisions, those thoughts, the direction, all the things that the visionary works on have to be filtered through the integrator, who sees everything else that's happening across the organization.
Yeah. Well, the big thing that I had to see at the very beginning was to see that, and that's why EOS helps so much, is I was able to see that we were hitting a ceiling as a company. We were growing, don't get me wrong, but we are hitting a ceiling with leadership, with where we're going. Hey, our sales are doing well, but we were struggling in our operations, struggling in our leadership, and all the things that we needed. And profit. Yeah, to be honest with you, we're struggling in profit and all that. And so, so we knew that we were hitting a ceiling, just didn't know what it was. And so as I started looking, I just knew I needed someone that could come in and work beside me. And, don't get me wrong, we had great people that had a lot of knowledge, but we were all hitting a ceiling at some point. So we needed that fresh look, someone that had been there, done that. And so, when you came in, that just changed how we reviewed how we were growing. We have training classes that we do now that, quite frankly, we weren't even thinking about it back then. And may not even been thinking about it now if that wouldn't have been the case. And where we are today versus where we were 4 or 5 years ago, it's a total different looking company. But we've made great strides in how we've done it. You've taken the company from where it was to where it is now, and where it's going to be here in the future, and have a great vision in yourself of how the operations needs to look, how the direction that we're going. The way I tell everybody, I get the easy job now. I get to say, hey, I get to sit back and now think and in a sense daydream of, okay, this is where we are. Here are the new products. Here are the new things, and we can cast a vision or a backlog of things that we want to go. Now it's a matter of, hey, let's put those in the right order, and that's what you'll do. You'll get that and put it in the right order, and knowing where we're going to go and how we're going to lay that out. And so having that combination, like you said, with the visionary and the integrator, it works. It's just a proven system.
So a danger that I see leaders run into, it's something called affinity bias. And it basically means when you're hiring, you unconsciously hire people who look like you, think like you, act like you. You hire from a certain, circle. That's basically like affinity bias. There's some, unconscious biases in there. And what EOS forces you to do when you're hiring either the visionary or integrator role is make sure you are hiring not necessarily like I don't mean it complementary roles in that we do the same things. They're contrary skills, where Wayne and I share very similar core values, and we share a passion for very similar things, but we are two dynamically different people with different skill sets. He likes doing things that I don't like to do. I like doing things that he doesn't like to do. And in the normal world, he probably would not have hired someone like me if he was not thinking about, I need to hire someone who can do the things that I don't like, who can do the things that I don't know how to do or I'm not good at. So there was humility in him recognizing, like, I am just not good at these things. As opposed to, and this, like, circle back, this is what I normally see is leaders hire people who reflect themselves. So all you're doing is you're just hiring another mini me into your organization. That's not going to help you.
That's the last thing you need to do.
That's the last thing you need. You need someone who can do the things that you don't like to do and do the things that you're not good at, and that be what they're great at. And that's the power of, I think it's called the crystallizer test, the crystallizer exam. But basically, it's a test, a literal test. In the book, Rocket Fuel, I would encourage every business owner, business leader to take this test, whether you're on EOS or not. It shows so much about who you are. It was great. So talk about that, because and then I'll share kind of my story. But you took the Rocket Fuel, the crystallizer test. Yeah. What was that like for you?
Oh, well, I mean, it's very eye-opening, right? So when I took it, I 100% aligned with being a visionary. I mean, everything that it talked about, all the answers that I was giving it, I mean, I swayed so far over on this side. It just, I already had I had a thought that I would be the visionary, but that just solidified that big time, because it really, and it's a great thing. And even so, when you said something a second ago, when you talked about even if you're on EOS or not on EOS, as a business owner, and if you're on EOS, one thing I would do is tell you to get your visionary, whether it's you or you're the integrator or whoever, but make sure you get your visionary and you're integrated together, and go through the book and take that test, because it's going to tell you if you have two integrators. It's going to tell you if you have two visionaries. And if you have two integrators, and if you have two visionaries, you're still not running EOS the way it needs to be run. And you're never going to be the make that rocket fuel the way it is. I mean, the way I look at it is, I found out that, hey, I'm the rocket, but Steve's the fuel. He's the one that's going to power the engine. He's the one that's going to turn the controls. You can be the pilot, however, but I may be the rocket. Well, I can't go anywhere if I don't have the right fuel. I mean, don't put unleaded in there, because it's not going to work. And so, we tried that when we didn't have as strong of an integrator, didn't really have an integrator. And when you came on, you were the rocket fuel that allowed us just to shoot off. And, but the same thing on the other side, if, you can't have you can't go into space and you can't shoot up if you don't have a rocket, right? And so having both those together, it's got to work. The chemistry has to work right, and then you got to have someone that's just totally aligned. And but going through the book and going through that test really showed me exactly who I was. And then I think the same way happened for you as well.
Yeah. 100%.
100%.
Yeah. So this is, the way Wayne paints the picture, it's flattering, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't me that did this. It is truly the combination of the two. It's the power of the visionary integrator relationship. And, forget EOS for a second, because 99% of the folks, 99 out of the 100 that are watching are probably not on EOS.
True.
This still applies to you. The relationship dynamic between the owner, founder, and the operator who's running the rest of your business, you have to have that right dynamic to set yourself free. And you may be watching this or listening and thinking, I can do both. I can save money. I'm good at systems. I'm good at this. I'm good at that. But this is where I want to challenge you. Take the test, take the crystallizer quiz, and find out, what do you love and what are you great at?
Yeah.
This is why this is important, because you don't want to only spend 30, 40, 50% of your time doing something that you are not your very best at or that you don't love with your whole heart. The visionary integrator relationship allows you to take a role that may not be your best strength or may not be something that you are 100% passionate about. Forget about whether you can do it or not. As soon as you slide that away to someone else, now you are able to spend 80 to 100% of your time operating in a visionary type of a role, and you can create new relationships for your business, come up with new revenue drivers. That puts you in a position because now you're able to spend more of your time doing the things that you are truly great at, and that is a force multiplier for your business. And then, oh, by the way, you have another role over here who's now spending 80 to 100% of their time bringing your ideas to life and doing it in a way that doesn't make the company tip over and collapse.
Yeah. But you got to have that partner that you can trust, that person that that, hey, they've got the other side and you're not stressed about it. And man, that's I can't explain how great of a feeling it is when you finally hit that role, but it also just trickles down in the business. So once you start doing that, especially like for you, because you got so many people that are reporting to you, now you're starting to build a team, but you're building the team in a way that balances what maybe that you don't want to do or that you are not as good at. And so you pull this person over here because they're going to be more aligned with sales, or this person's going to be more aligned with accounting, or this person's whichever way it is. But even on the operational side, doing that to give you the opportunity to where you can really maintain and manage the whole overall system. And then I can do my side, you can do your side. And then we got a team that's under us that understands the direction. And some of them are going to be more aligned with integrator sides, and some of them, like over into sales and things, they may be aligned more into a visionary side because they've got to see, hey, what's coming down the pipeline.
So now back to when I took the crystallizer quiz. So you took the test and it just kind of anchored what you already felt like you knew who you were, kind of thing. I took this thing and I didn't have any idea. So I'm not saying that you fudged it and you were trying to answer it the way you wanted to, but I took this thing and I really answered it based on what my heart was saying, and I didn't know how it was going to come out. Now, rewind for just a little bit. My dad, he ended up being very successful. I've talked about him, I think, in the first or second episode. Very successful career, and ended up, president, COO, very kind of similar path to what I'm on now. But I always dreamed of being the CEO of a major organization. That's what I thought I wanted. That's what I had set my goals on. That's where I was working towards, to be the top executive leading the organization. That's what I always thought I wanted. So then here I come along to EOS and I take this crystallizer test. And I'll be darned if I didn't lean hard integrator. And when I stepped into the role of second in command, which by the way, there's a great book, Second in Command. There's a Second in Command podcast, Second in Command book. So any of you that are COOs or integrators, general managers, whatever, you're second in command, there's a lot of resources for you out there. Or feel free to text me or call me, and I'm happy to coach or partner with you. But when I became second in command, took that crystallizer quiz, dude, it unlocked a whole part of me like I didn't even realize. Like, it's like, this is who I am called to be. That's why the I'm with Wayne thing is the joke.
Yeah.
But I enjoy being second so much. It is such a great role for me, and I don't want to be. What I have learned is it's just not what I want to do. Now, if something happens, I mean, we'll be okay. I'll handle it. But it's not who I am. And that's what I discovered. It was powerful for me.
Yeah, but if you think about it, in the way our system runs, I mean, if you look around here and you talk to the people, I don't think anybody views you really as being the second in command anymore. I think people view you as the main leader. I mean, I'm over here to the side a little bit doing my thing, but you're really becoming the face inside the company, where people now may be the face outside the company, but you're more the face inside the company now, where people are looking at you and knowing that, hey, Steve is the one that's going to make the decision. And we had a meeting a week ago or so and talked to our people that have been with us for a long time and just laid it out in a great way. But everybody understands that, hey, Steve makes the last decision when it comes to what we're going to do, how we're going to lay it out, and that kind of thing. I may be the visionary, but and I love how the roles are going. But you're and the way I feel about it, because that's just who I am. I don't look at you as being a second in command. I look at you as being my partner, being right beside me, and we're on equal playing grounds and all that kind of stuff. I may own the majority of the stock in the company, but that's just the byproduct, the way I look at it.
Yeah, and EOS and the Rocket Fuel book is very clear that it really is a partnership.
Yeah,
and you and I met with an integrator, and at a certain local business.
Yeah,
and this little story here. This is what I feel like is the greatest problem that integrators deal with, and that is they're not really the integrator.
Yeah,
they're and you remember we were sitting down having lunch with this individual, and he's telling me kind of telling us the struggles that they're going through, and I'm like, well, tell me about your organization, tell me about the owner and this and that, and I'm like, I didn't tell him this, in hindsight, I probably should have, but I wanted to say, dude, you're not the integrator.
Yeah.
Your owner is the visionary and the integrator and is making all the decisions. You're just called integrator. The problem is this is where I appreciate partnering with Wayne so much, is because he happily let go of that role. Most owners don't do that. They hire someone to help run the company and then never empower them to actually run the company. You're holding yourself back, you're holding them back, and you're holding your company back when you do that. That is a key problem that I feel like most founders and owners who are scaling and are hiring leadership help to run their business, they're not truly empowering those individuals to make decisions and even tell the owner no sometimes. Yeah. And that's an issue that owners have to overcome.
Well, sometimes they don't want to get out of the way, right? I mean, they want to hire the person, and they may hire the right person. I mean, think about it. If I'd have hired you back in those days, say 4 years ago, but I wouldn't have given you the power to do what you wanted to, and really let you be the integrator that you're meant to be and how you're doing it right now. Well, there's a good chance you probably wouldn't even be here. But if I'd have just micromanaged and just been all over you about it and just watched every step.
I'm the micromanager.
Yeah,
lately.
But that's what it needs to be, right? But that's how you are. I mean, because you have a lot of people reporting to you, and you are the micromanager. I've never been the micromanager person. And honestly, if you look at a visionary probably doesn't need to be the micromanager of the whole entire company. Integrator, but you're not really a micromanager anyway. But if you have to be, you are. I mean, you start looking at our website and looking at what we're doing now and the things that we're doing, and even on the building, you're micromanaging every bit of it, because you have to make sure that we get all the details exactly right, because it's going to mean so much to us in, say, 3 months or 6 months from now, that when we move into the new site, we move into the new building, that we have to have that right. And so you're playing micromanager all the way around, big time. And so that's just a huge part of it. But if you think about going back just a little bit, when it came to before we even read Rocket Fuel, it brought back something to me a minute ago, was before you even started, you were within a few weeks of coming in, and we were at one of our EOS quarterly sessions, and Justin was here. And I may have even mentioned this, but I want to say it again. When Justin was here, which was our integrator at the time, that came in from EOS that helped lead our implementer. You came in and you sat down and you were part of the meeting. That you hadn't even started working for us. You're still probably 2 weeks out, I think, but you came in and wanted to be a part of that meeting. Halfway through the meeting, we took a break, and as I was outside in the hallway, Justin came and he grabbed me and says, "Hey man, Steve's your integrator." I was like, "Well, how do you know that? I mean, you just met him." He says, "Trust me, I know Steve. He's your integrator," because we probably already had somebody else in that place, or maybe even somebody kind of aligned to be that person, or we thought that might have been that person. And sure enough, I mean, within a matter of months, you were the integrator, you were running it, you were taking off, and I was very happily to throw the reins, say, "Hey, here you go." You said, "Well, how much rope do I get?" "Well, I don't even have the other end of the rope anymore. You got the whole thing." And so,
funny story. Wayne actually never promoted me to integrator. Do you remember this conversation?
Do I? No. Remind me.
Basically, when you brought me in, you were like, "Okay, before I can trust this guy, he can run operations," kind of thing. And everybody else still, I guess, reported to you. And then as I just naturally started gaining influence, and just how relationships work, and people started coming to me, Wayne comes up to me one day and goes, "Well, I guess I should just start calling you the integrator now." Like,
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Because one of our former employees came up to me and said, "So do I work for you now? Or like, how's that?" I'm like, "What do you think?" You tell me.
You tell me.
So there was actually never an official announcement. It was just.
Do I need to send that announcement out now?
It's fine.
That was funny.
Don't worry. Okay. I feel like I need to address this really quick. Okay. Because micromanaging gets kind of a bad rap sometimes. All the time, actually.
Yeah.
And I do not enjoy, I do kind of enjoy micromanaging sometimes. I don't want to lie. But it is not healthy to micromanage people. And yes, Wayne is being true right now. I've been micromanaging a lot. So let me address that for a second. And I'm not even talking about steaming t-shirts and everything else.
Yeah, I didn't leave that one alone.
I better not bring up, that's from the last episode. Yeah. We'll leave that one alone. So first, if you are going to micromanage, just admit it and tell your people. And that's what I've done. I said, "Look, team, we've got 2 very large projects going on right now. I'm following up on things I don't normally follow up on. Please just give me some grace, and just know I'm just trying to stay on top of everything. So I'm going to follow up more. I'm going to check in more. So please don't hold it against me. It won't be like this forever." And everyone's aligned. We are not in a fail-safe environment right now. So if you remember from several episodes ago, we talked about creating a fail-safe environment where you can empower people to make decisions, let them run with whatever the consequence or the outcome is.
Yeah.
And if it's a bad decision, they'll learn from it. It's not going to tank the company. They'll learn, they'll grow, but you're creating an environment where you can empower people to take ownership and make their own decisions. But it has to be a fail-safe environment. This is not a fail-safe environment.
Right.
So I personally feel responsible for the outcomes of these 2 major projects that we're working on. It is not a fail-safe environment. So I feel the obligation to take ownership for these. And because of that, I am managing these projects, micro-managing these projects and every little thing that's happening, because I don't feel like they're fail-safe.
I will say this though, real quick, is and I don't mean to cut you off, but
that's fine. You're the visionary.
Yeah, you do a really good job of that. Even when we say micromanaging, we've been around people that have micromanaged us in the past, and it was very harsh, and it was hard, and it was just a very dictator type of situation. You don't do that. You're very good about it. You're very good about how you don't. I would say that you don't feel like your people that work for you don't. They may feel like you're staying on top of the game, but it's not one of those where you're micromanaging in such a way that you're just dictating to them. You're going to do this, and this, and then you're just watching over everything. You're just paying attention. You're listening, and you're paying attention to what people are saying, and you're asking really, really good questions.
Yeah.
And that's a huge difference doing that when you talk about micromanaging.
It's really more micro follow-up and micro accountability than it is
Well,
micromanagement.
yeah, but you're right. That's exactly what it is. But, if you didn't do that, not everybody's catching it the way you catch it. And so you're a great listener and you ask really, really good follow-up questions that create it actually draws out what we're missing, and then it makes it to where we don't miss it. That's a huge difference in how you are. So that just makes you that much better of an integrator all the way around, and I appreciate that a lot.
All right, we're going to wrap this thing up, and I'll give you the first to last word, or second to last, or whatever it's called.
Okay.
But I just want to say, every business needs vision, and that's where the visionary comes in. Every business needs vision, but without the clarity that the integrator brings, that story never really comes to life of where the visionary is trying to take the organization. So get the book Rocket Fuel, read the book, take the crystallizer quiz. Whether you run on EOS or not, doesn't matter. This book is incredible, and it is a game changer, 100%.
Yeah, and I'll second that because you don't have to be running on EOS to read the book Rocket Fuel. You just read the book, and it may make you want to start going through EOS in the first place. But know who your visionary and your integrator. If it's you, and maybe you're a real small company, you can get away with it for a little while. But the bigger you get, the more you're going to need the counterpart that does what you're not as good at. And then when you hit that, and I feel blessed about that part of it, is that we have truly hit that, because I can be the visionary that I want to be and do my job and not worry at all about what the integrator is doing, because I know I've got such a great integrator. I mean, that part of it is taken care of. And that's where we are starting to have the rocket fuel, and where we're starting to have the success that we're having. And I just don't see it slowing down.
Yeah. If you're listening and you're thinking, I can't afford to hire someone like a Steve to sit opposite of me, or I can't afford to hire that integrator role, making assumptions is always going to be a limiter for you. There are lots of ways to solve the problem. If the problem you need solved is you need to find that integrator, or you need to find that visionary, if you're the integrator, partner with someone who can help you solve that problem. There's lots of ways to onboard talent into your organization that don't just necessarily cost you a big salary. There's fractional COOs and fractional integrators that cost just a fraction of what that would normally cost. There are other forms of compensation, long-term incentives, equity, shadow stocks that would incentivize someone to come to work for you, come work with you. Don't limit yourself and the people that you could have access to from a talent perspective, because you're assuming I can't afford it. Call someone like us. We'll partner with you. We'll work with you. Find a coach, read a book, but there are ways to solve your problems. Don't let assumptions limit you. So,
can I say one more thing?
You're the visionary. So,
well, I mean, I know you're about to close out, but
go ahead. No,
I mean,
it's fine.
I just had to jump on that because you said such a great point that I couldn't let it go. Is if you think that you can't afford that person, you can't not afford that person, because when you get that right person that comes in and that helps you, just like when you came in, we weren't as profitable. We were growing, but we were stagnant to a certain degree as well in our leadership. When you came in, it totally flipped. You pay for yourself, 10 times over. Our profit has skyrocketed because you looked at it and you saw, hey, we have some gaps in where we are and how we're doing it. And you fix those gaps. You shore that up and you start looking at where we are now. You look at our financials and you look at how those are going. So it's allowed me to do my visionary stuff and even the banking system that I have that we have in place and really grow that. Whereas you've been able to grow everything else you just pay for yourself 10 times over. So if you're a visionary and you're looking for an integrator, fractional integrator, hey, that's perfectly fine. You find that right person, you can't not afford to hire them, because if you hire them, that will be a catalyst for you to be able to make a huge change in a positive direction. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, since we're adding things on, we won't have the whole conversation, but we didn't do WWW, What's Wayne Wearing?
What's Wayne wearing?
But this entire episode is all about show me the money.
It is 100%.
Visionary integrator relationship is the rocket fuel that will help any business owner get shown the money.
It will. I will attest to that all day long. It's a huge catalyst for where we were, and where we are now, because our companies are doing extremely well, and but it's because of the relationship that we have.
Yep. Okay. So I apologize to all of our viewers who just love WWW. I cut that one short a little bit.
Man.
It's fine. Hey, if you made it this far, thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. Follow us on our social media accounts. Like, share, subscribe, all the things. Engage with us. We love to hear from you. And if you ever need anything from us, just please don't feel free to reach out. And we will see you next time. Thanks for watching the 3PX Show.
Thank you. See you later.